An ancient Japanese garden. The undead lurking behind every corner. And a night that would change these people's lives forever. With their blood soon to turn white, their hair about to go gray, this group of journalists have arrived at a mysterious Japanese tea garden for a nighttime scavenger hunt to celebrate the launch of Tecmo's highly anticipated horror game, Fatal Frame 2: Crimson Butterfly. Do you see dead people? Lots of dead people? So do Mayu and Mayo, the young female stars of Crimson Butterfly. With only a highly powerful sixth sense to guide them, and a special device called the camera obscura, the girls are able to fight and capture ghosts by photographing them.
It's basically the story of two young twin sisters who find themselves trapped in a lost village that has disappeared from all maps because of a tragedy that occurred during a ritual many years ago. And it's the story of these two girls as they're trying to escape alive from this village.
The ancient forest setting filled with ghosts, spooks, and a horde of frightened journalists was the perfect setting to introduce a real-life Ghostbuster. Meet Northern California's own Professor Paranormal. Before the hunt began, the professor enthralled the crowd with a few magic tricks and ghost stories.
Some of those experiences involved spiritual forces. And to this day, the owner is still trying to figure out whether or not the stories about a crimson butterfly are true.
With the extrasensory power of his mystical Ouija board, Professor Paranormal paired people up for the evening's main event, the scavenger hunt. The teams were then equipped with the very same devices Fatal Frame 2 players use in the game, flashlights and a camera. Just like the sisters Mayu and Mayu from Fatal Frame 2: Crimson Butterfly, teams of two were sent on a quest through an eerie setting and encountered a cache of things that do a lot more than just go bump in the night. The original Fatal Frame created a wonderful mythology for itself, but for this installment, the game's designers looked for a story rooted in the past to push the game into the future.
Speaking from a chronological time frame, the second game actually takes place 30 years before the first, and we have basically the two twins from a modern time period find themselves lost in this village in the past. And there will be some connections with the first game. People will recognize some of these characters. Also, there will be background in the game that will kind of tie it in with the first game.
By emphasizing situation and presentation, and working atmosphere and mood in concert with the player's own imagination, Fatal Frame 2's designers have tapped into one of the most surefire ways to instill fear in the player.
I think the reason that we were successful in creating atmosphere and terror is by creating horror that appeals to the imagination. For instance, we took the character models and the enemy models and things that were made in the computer, and instead of just putting them into the game as they were, all nice and neat, we purposefully added noise and filters on top of it to make it hard to see so that people would wonder, what's there, what's coming after me. And then we also will recognize sound is a very important part of this game.
Having spent the majority of his time lately recreating the dark and shadowy world of those no longer among the living, Kikuchi explained what truly frightens him.
Personally, I think that the scariest thing for me is probably being alone. That includes, of course, death, but it also includes, being by yourself and not having anyone else around you. And I think that's something that's scary for everybody.
Awash with fright and exhilaration after combing the woods and encountering a few ghouls along the way, attendees were in the perfect mood to give Fatal Frame 2 a try. But only in the safety of their rooms. As dawn arose and sunlight shattered an evening filled with fun and excitement, the following morning prizes were awarded to the winners, as well as those who advanced the farthest in the game. With their wits about them and raves all around, this group of trick-or-treaters gave the game and the weekend overwhelmingly good reviews.
Everybody in the room screamed out loud, and we're all grown men.
I don't think you could make better atmosphere in any game. It was totally scary.
Just a cool little way to get the whole Fatal Frame experience.